Welcome back to the Real with Joseph Lappin. I am Joseph Lappin. Welcome into the Real. If you're new here, please like, subscribe, and share. And shout out to new subscribers. Thank you for getting us to 1K again, guys. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. So we appreciate your support all along. The people have been there with us, and the people have just joined. So shout out to you guys. 1K subs. There we go. I had to make sure I had to get the applause out. So, but no, thank you to you guys. But taking a break today from the Browns. Figured I'd give my thoughts on the Cavs real quick. This isn't going to be a long video, so I've been talking a lot of Browns. Obviously, it's my main team I cover on this channel, me and my guys. But I like covering basketball too, so I wanted to give some thoughts on the Cavs. If you heard my thoughts, I share it's mainly only been over on TuneIn Sports, so go subscribe to him, number one Cavs content creator out there. So if you heard what I thought about the Cavs this year, that's the only place you've heard is over there. So since then, though, it's been a little bit since I've been over there talking ball, and the Cavs right now, they're 12-9. They're seventh in the Eastern Conference standings, so they're in the play-in bubble right now. Like Kenny Atkinson said last night, the sky's not falling. It's only December 1st, but 20 games in, there's some things I think the Cavs, 21 games, excuse me. There's things the Cavs need to make adjustments on immediately, in my opinion. And so last night they lost 117-115 to the Boston Celtics. And this game to me really stood out the most at home on a Sunday night. I think this is a game the Cavs should have won against a Boston team. It hasn't really been playing great recently. Obviously no Jason Tatum this year. They're kind of in like a reflux. Lost a lot of pieces. They still have Jaylen Brown and Peyton Pritchard, who went off last night for 41 points. But, you're 42 points rather. But they still – this is a game the Cavs should win at home. Obviously the Cavs right now are without Merrill, Strus, and Lonzo, and Jared Allen. But this is a game the Cavs still should win. And I look at last night's game as just another example of why I don't have full confidence in the Cavs winning the East this year still, because to me, they're still are carried over to the bad habits from last year, what cost them last year in the Indiana series. They're carrying it over again this year still. And so I'm going to get into some of those habits and break down what changes I think need to be made immediately. And so one area where I think the Cavs still need to improve on is their depth on the bench. I just think when you look at our depth right now defensively off that bench, outside Alonzo Ball and Craig Porter Jr. on some nights, I don't like the perimeter defense as much. I think Tyrese Proctor can become that. I think he's playing really well right now, and he probably should get more minutes. His minutes should get increased by his productivity. And him also being 6'5", which helps. But I don't like the Cavs' perimeter defense off that bench. I just don't think they have the guys that can match up on the wings consistently, the bigs that can actually, stretch out, maybe switch on a guard, maybe hold their ground. We don't really have that. And now you're seeing it right now with Jared Allen out. Evan Mobley can't play 48 minutes every night, so he's going to have to come out of the game. We're rolling out Naquan Tomlin and Dean Wade. And Naquan Tomlin has a lot of upside and potential to be a decent backup rotation big, but he's still a project. He's a project, and he's a guy that's going to take some time. You heard a story. The guy didn't really play basketball till later in life. I think around like 18, 19 years old or something like that. So, that's kind of what we're relying on right now. And Dean Wade, if he ain't shooting his threes and making them, he really doesn't give you a whole lot. And I've always said that. Nothing against Dean Wade. To me, he's not a good defender. He crosses his feet a lot defensively. And you can see, like last night right here, again, another play where he's chasing a guy, his man. They're man-to-man. He's chasing this guy at the top here. 55 here is going to set a screen. Doesn't set the screen, though, on Donovan Mitchell. What happens here, you see this ball handler here. He gets a little – he starts moving this way, and he freezes Dean Wade. And what they're going to do is they're just going to have 55 pop back out. And Dean Wade, you can see right here, if you watch the full play in real-time speed, he just doesn't recover well. And this has always been a problem. The communication defensively to me with the Cavs. Right now, the Cavs are ranked 9th defensively in defensive rating, but I still see a lot of times, like the first play of this game, if you go to that, you can see right there, he hits the three. And to me, I think the Cavs, bigs, backup bigs especially, they just rotation's never been great. But you can see even the first play of the game off the tip-off right here. The Cavs come back. You see Darius Garland's pointing to Jalen Tyson to get Peyton Pritchard, and Peyton Pritchard just steps right into like a routine. I mean, that's too late. I mean, this is like a warm-up three. bang. So right from the jump, you saw the miscue. I mean, I don't know what Jalen Tyson was thinking. I'm assuming Jalen Tyson had Peyton Pritchard. I'm assuming that was the matchup, but you can see off the tip off, he actually is guarding 27, so maybe that's who he's matched up with. I don't know why Darius pointed to the top there. When they come out of the tip off, Darius is sitting there fixing his hair right there, just like we saw in the Indiana series at times, just kind of lackadaisical. And there you go. First play of the game, miscue. And that's been a common theme for them defensively. And that's why, to me, the Cavs, some of their problems, the adjustments they need to make, going back to last year, they didn't get back in transition in Indiana game a whole lot. Because to me, why the Cavs are hurting a lot defensively is not only because of some of their personnel off the bench. Like I said, with a guy like Dean Wade, to me, is kind of he's not reliable on defense, and he's more of a guy that I think teams are definitely going to continue to pick on. And he's going to have to play increased minutes right now. Last night he played 20 minutes. Tomlin played 22 minutes. And Tomlin, to me, shows decent signs of good defense. But, Tomlin offensively is up and down, wavy. See, with both of those guys, and Wade and Tomlin, you're not getting a whole lot of consistency. And that's my whole thing with those guys. You're not getting consistency. Thomas Bryant played 6 minutes last night. I may be able to bump his minutes up right now and just see if you get something out of him. I mean, I think Thomas Bryant can at least give you a couple hard fouls, some rebounds. Times when he has been out there this year, he's at least given something. With Wade and Tomlin, it's just a little too inconsistent for me, especially with Dean Wade. He's been here longer. Obviously, that's a guy that they've lauded. Obviously, he's somebody they found, and he is a decent player. I think it's a good story, obviously, with Dean Wade, how he got his contract and stuff. Congrats to him. But I think the Cavs now, they're at a time where they're not in that honeymoon phase anymore. Look at us as a team that we're building back up better, and since LeBron, we're going to be a team that to mess with in the East for years to come. They're at a point now where it's go time. It's time to win. And you're going to get in these ebbs and flows of the season where you're going to have guys out. It's an 82-game season. It's a team sport. Guys are going to get hurt. That's where you have to count on your bench and your depth and your culture and your style of play. I mean, you have the right pieces along the way. No matter if a couple guys off, and you have to train keeps moving forward, right? It doesn't stop. And so, with me, I think that's one area where they got to get better immediately. I think Kobe Alford better wing defenders on the bench, guys that just give you something. Can you give me something every night? If you're not making your three, can you give me? Are you a rebounder? Are you an elite rebounder? Can you switch out, defend well on high? Those high screen rolls like we saw, or high pick and pops. Can you give me something? I feel like right now we have a lot of inconsistency off that bench that it's just not helping them. Another area where I've had a huge problem with the Cavs is just too many threes. They live by the three and die by the three. And last night, the Cavs, as a team, shot 52 threes for 38%. Boston only shot 40, but Boston also got to the line 29 times, made 23 of it for 79%. The Cavs only got to the line 13 times last night for nine makes from the free throw line. Out of 13, 69% free throw percentage. And so that's been a consistent theme to me, the trend that I've seen with the Cavs this year. Kenny Atkinson talked about recently, and so he doesn't like some of the trends that are going on. But to me, that's a trend that I haven't liked at all. And to me, that's why if you go back to the Indiana game, that Indiana series last year, Indiana killed us in transition. And a lot of that to me was because our offense did not help our defense. It's like the saying, a lot of times your offense can be your better defense. It can help you out. And to me, the Cavs don't play complementary on both sides of the court. I think when they shoot so many threes and they just sit and jack up the threes. I mean, I've seen Luke Travers this year shoot a three with 18 seconds left on the shot clock, and I'm just like, why? And that's just the one example of many. We saw a couple last night. I saw Naquan Tomlin jacking up threes. I saw everybody just keep shooting threes. And you see the Cavs right now, they're leading the league in three-point attempts at 44%. And in terms of three-point percentage, they are 20th. So they're not even in the top half. But yet they lead the league in three-point attempts. So you lead the league in three-point attempts, but you're in the bottom 10 of three-point percentage. How does that make sense? And when you look at actual free throw attempts, the Cavs, 19th. Not very good to me. for what the talent that they have, guys like Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland and Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, all the big guys and fast guys they have that can get downhill and create. To me, that's not good. I don't like that mix there, that formula of the free throw attempts and the 3-point attempts, and then the percentages don't add up to either. And so you don't need that. You don't need the stats. I'm just showing you guys the stats to show more context, but you just watch it on the tape and on film. I see it. I saw it on the tape. I mean, it is not good basketball when I go back and rewatch some of these games, because some nights I can't watch every game. But when I do go back and watch, I get pissed even more. Especially when they lose, the games they lose, it's always the same thing. And again, 44 3-point attempts you're averaging a night. I mean, there was a game this year that shot, I think, 65 threes in a game. That's insane. And you have 2 7-footers. And you have Darius Garland who can create and go downhill. I know Darius can shoot 3. I know Donovan can shoot the 3. But they can go downhill too. You're not the Splash Brothers. I hate to break it to you. And you can see who's second there, the Golden State Warriors, right? And obviously Kenny Atkinson came from Golden State. I understand he's probably brought a lot of that philosophy here, which in some ways is good. I like the ball movement, the off-ball cutting, right? A lot of ways it's improved, but they also have They had Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, and they kept one time Kevin Durant. But they still had the greatest shooting backcourt ever. We don't have the greatest shooting backcourt ever. We have a very good backcourt. I think very good. But they're not Steph and Klay in terms of 3-point shooting. All right. Donovan Mitchell is a 5-level scorer. He can shoot 3s. He can shoot 2s. He can get to the basket. He can get to the free throw line. He can dunk. He can go downhill. He's created a little bit more of a mid-range game this year, which I like. So, he could score in all different ways. Darius Garland, the same thing. Darius can get downhill. Darius can draw and ones going down. Darius' speed going downhill. He's one of the fastest players in the league. Remember what Draymond Green said about him? He's just so quick moving down the hill. Maybe one of the fastest players. He is one of the fastest players in the NBA, if not the, to some guys with the ball in his hand. I mean, he is cat quick. Why not go downhill more, get more of those lobs? I feel like the Cavs at times shoot themselves out of games where you have Evan Mobley now catching the ball out at the 3-point line and trying to go one-on-one. Evan's not a great ball handler, and we try to make him. We want Evan Mobley so bad to be Kevin Durant when really he's more like Anthony Davis and Chris Bosh. And I know he's not even Chris Bosh in Miami. Chris Bosh in Miami was a damn good, actually pretty good 3-point shooter. That's not Evan's game. Evan's improved his 3-point shooting, which is good, but we want him to be somebody he's not. And we're trying to force him into a system that just doesn't fit his style of play, where he's at right now in his development and his overall skill set, what he is. He's more AD, right? He's more AD, not KD. And we're trying to make him KD. And I think a lot of it goes back to Kenny bringing that philosophy over from Golden State. But again, you see it right there. 44 3-point attempts. You look at the teams who are at the bottom of the league in 3-point attempts. All have winning. A lot of them have winning records. The Houston Rockets, 13-4, right? Only 30 a game. And they got Kevin Durant. Detroit Pistons, 16-4, only 31 a game. The Toronto Raptors, they have a winning record, 14-7, only 32 games. The Lakers, who has a really good offense this year, only 15-4. And with LeBron out for that stretch, they only shoot 33 a game. And JJ Redick is a guy who embraces analytics. Denver Nuggets, who won a championship recently with Jokic, 14-5, only 34. So again, you're seeing a trend that a lot of the top tier teams right now, the teams that have had good starts to the season in the NBA, they don't shoot a lot of threes like that. All right. And a lot of those teams too, you see up here in the free throw attempts, Detroit, LA, right? Houston, Indiana, who beat us last year. They're a crappy team, 4-16, but you see how they still keep their style of play, though. No matter Halliburton's there or not, they're still playing the same way, but they're just not a very good team without him, obviously. But Denver's still top 12 and free throw attempts. But again, there's a trend here. And I think the Cavs are trying to be one-dimensional. They want to live by the 3 and die by the 3. And last night, Boston, with Peyton Pritchard and Jaylen Brown, I mean, they got 29 free throw attempts. The Cavs only got 13. And the Cavs shot 12 more threes. To me, it's no coincidence they lost the game. I mean, at one point, the Cavs were down by almost 20 points in this game. I think it was 21 points. They were down the highest in this game. And that's been a trend with the Cavs this year at times. Those 9 losses, especially, or even the games where they barely win, they let teams back in it. It's because they just live and die by the three. And I just don't understand it. I don't understand why you have 2 7-footers, you want to keep shooting that many 3-point attempts. I mean, Peyton Pritchard last night got to the line 6 times, 6 for 6. He was red hot from 3. He had one of those rare nights from 3. But Jaylen Brown, guess what? Jaylen Brown was only 1 of 4 from 3 last night. He only was 3 of 13. But you know where Jaylen Brown got his 19 points? Mainly, a lot of them, 12 of them. He had 16 free throw attempts. He said, you know what? Hey, Jalen, I know I'm not shooting the ball well tonight, but I'm going to attack inside and still impact this game. And guess what? He still had 12 rebounds and 11 assists as well. Had 6 turnovers. You need to get rid of that. But I'm sure he'd tell you. But still, he still impacted the game in some way. It wasn't just live and die by the three. If it ain't there, I don't give you anything. Like I mentioned earlier with Dean Wade. Now, obviously, my expectation for Dean Wade is not Jaylen Brown. He's not a star player and a starter in the NBA. But it's the philosophy. The Celtics last night, as many threes as they've shot in the past, and they still shoot a lot this year. Obviously, they're third in the league in 3-point attempts. In a game like that last night, Coach Mazzulla, he knew, hey, the Cavs, they're going to outshoot them. So they're going to shoot themselves out of the game. We'll just go the other. We'll attack inside a little more. We'll, get to the line more, draw those fouls. We'll get those switches on Dean Wade and other guys like that and make them, they don't really communicate great defensively yet this season. We'll shift them side to side and attack downhill and draw some of those fouls. And that's exactly what they did. It's good team basketball. It's smart basketball. This is not smart basketball. You got Evan Mobley, and I'm going to get to him next and why I think he hasn't taken that next step yet. I think this is a lot of it. We're trying to, again, like I said, we're trying to make Evan play in a system that really we're trying to ask him to be KD, like I said, when really he's more 80. And if we compare these two, right, if you can look at Anthony Davis's stats, his 5th year, right? So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. His 23rd, he was age 23. It was the 16-17 season. If you look at his 3-point attempts that year, right? He shot 134 threes that year. Made 40 of them for 29%. That year, you look at his averages. Again, that was that season. That year, AD, he played 75 games. He was available most of that season. Again, only shot 1.8 threes per game that year. 50% from field goal percentage, 80% from the free throw line, but he averaged 8 free throw attempts a game, 27 points, 2 blocks, 1.2 steals, 2.6 turnovers, but 9 rebounds. 11 rebounds, 9 defensive rebounds, 11 rebounds. So he averaged 27-11 that year, his 5th season in the NBA. But again, he only shot his year, he only shot 134 threes. That's it. Right? So he knew he played more inside. He probably shot a lot of mid-range there. You see his 2-point attempts. He shot almost 1,400 twos that year for 52%, which is very impressive. So this guy understood what he was, and that team, the coach made sure, hey, we're going to put you in positions where if you want to get the most out of you, and that's the thing with the Cavs. Everybody knows Evan Mobley has to be their second best, if not their best player some nights for them to take that next step. But I think the difference though with AD in his 5th year was, he didn't have that kind of team. Evan has a much better team around him than he had that year in New Orleans. But what that coach understood in New Orleans was, hey, we're going to put you in situations, Anthony, where you can be maximizing your strengths because we need you to take that next step, right, in order to take a leap as a franchise to make you reach your max potential. And that's what the Cavs are trying to do with Evan Mobley. But the Cavs, as you saw, they're shooting 44 threes a game. If we take a look here at Evan Mobley, like you see his stats already, his 5th season, 20 games in. And you can see with Evan Mobley, folks, for his 5th season, I'll zoom in on this. Evan Mobley for his 5th season, in terms of 3-point attempts, only 20 games in, 87. So he's already almost to AD's number, which was, if I go look at that on my other screen, 134. So Evan Mobley has shot 83s, where Anthony Davis only shot 134 threes or 75 games. But through 20 games, Evan Mobley's he's on track to absolutely just blow that number out of the water of ADs. You saw last year at Evan Mobley, Kenny Atkinson's first year, 233 point attempts for 37%. So we had this guy shoot 237. And look at the twos, only 676. AD, his fourth year, I didn't show that number of 2-point attempts, 1,028 for 51%. Yeah. So to me, if you look at the number, I know a lot of people like the stats. I like to break down the film, the tape and stuff, and I can already see it, without you looking at it. But when I saw these numbers today, I'm like, I'm not surprised by this. This is what the Cavs are. They're one-dimensional. And the guy that they need to take that next step that everybody's been, going at when he doesn't play well, I'm kind of like, yeah, a lot of it's on Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley made a boneheaded play last night at the end of that half, throwing that inbound pass to, DeAndre Hunter when he wasn't really looking, and the guy caught it and got the 2 at the end of the half. Obviously, he's got to be better in those areas. There's still areas where Evan's got to be a lot better, but I don't think we're helping him grow. And to me, it starts with the coaching. And the philosophy. If you want to get the best out of your guy and help him develop and grow, maximize him to help you as a team take the next step, you need to start putting him in positions where he's most successful and where his skill set matches up. And we're trying to make him KD when he's really more like AD. That's his skill set. And AD was a better ball handler than him coming out of college. But so again, and KD's one of the best. Kevin Durant's probably the best ball handler at 7 feet I've ever seen, maybe ever. I don't know if we ever seen a guy handle the ball like that at 7 feet tall. So we're trying to make him somebody he's not. So when I hear all these people the last 2-3 years saying Evan needs to shoot more threes, I'm thinking, why? You're just trying to make him Chris Bosh Miami when Chris Bosh was a damn good shooter from the 3-point attempt from 3 in Miami. But Chris Bosh also had the best player in the world, LeBron James, one of the greatest 2 guards ever in Dwayne Wade, Eric Spoelstra, and a great defensive team in Miami who had won championships before he got there, won a reign before he got there. It was a much different situation, right? But Evan Mobley, we're trying to make him that, and that's not his skill set. And I think a lot of the reasons why this casting is not elevated this year, we want them to so far, why Evan Mobley hasn't taken that jump that I thought he was going to make this year, is because, again, he's still handicapped. We don't run a lot of plays for him to get the ball, just catch it on the block, right, where he could take 1-2 dribbles in the basket, lay it up, just jump hook it in or fade away, jump hook, spin off, reverse pivot, drop step. There are a lot of different things. He has an arsenal. We just don't let him use it. And I've seen him do it, and I think you would have more open threes, better looks at 3 if you play more inside out. The Cavs, in my opinion, like a lot of teams in the NBA in the last 10 years, this trend of this analytics is more threes, is play outside in and just jack a lot records. Just keep jacking up threes, hoisting as we call it over here. It's the hoist system. Just keep hoisting threes. And the Cavs hoisted their way out of that Indiana series last year where they should have won that series and they were a better team on paper. And they got upset. And it wasn't even close in that series. They got beaten 5 and it was easy. And it was a dusting. So, again, you're coming off that last year. Clearly you didn't learn your lessons because you're still doing the same stuff this year. And why do they need to change it right now ASAP? No, the sky's not falling like Kenny Atkinson said last night. But if you allow these habits and these trends to continue throughout the season, you're 20 games in. So if you allow this to continue, it's going to become who you are. And who you are, we saw last year when you get in a 7-game series in the playoffs, and you can't change playoff basketball no matter what. It's always been the same. The game slows down. You have to play more half court. It's all about matchups. If they get a bad matchup against, let's say, the Pistons in the playoffs, where they have another bigger point guard and a team that can push the pace a little bit and beat you down inside, and play good defense, you could be in trouble again, just like you were last year. So again, you have to make these adjustments now as a team, and philosophically, you got to start tweaking some things. Get Evan Mobley the ball more down the post. Last night he only had, Mobley last night was 11 of 17. So he had 17 shot attempts, was 3 of 6 from 3, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. So he had a pretty good night shooting the ball overall, 27 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists. He should have got the ball more. That's a game last night where Evan Mobley, if you get to probably, let's say, middle of that second, third quarter, you start feeding the ball more inside. They get them in spots where he could really just get in a groove and dominate. He probably should have 23 shot attempts last. Peyton Pritchard last night shot the ball 22 times and had 42 points, and they won. The Cavs, to me, if Peyton Pritchard shooting the ball 22 times, Evan Mobley should have shot the ball 22 times or more last night. He was flowing. There's been a lot of games this year where he was, flowing. And I get you got to get other guys shot attempts too, but play outside, play inside out, right? Make teams have to double off of Mobley if he gets rolling. All right. Open up that, and then you can stretch him out. Let him hit a couple. He hit a couple threes last night. Then you can open things up with Donovan and Darius and do different things. Put them in pick and roll situations. Get more free throw attempts that way. Attack it inside. To me, the Cavs are at their best when they attack inside as a team. The guards included, everybody, and then they play inside out, and then they get hot from three. To me, that's when they're at their best. I think that fits their skill set. That's when they're the most balanced as a team offensively. The Cavs are now not very balanced. It's too one-dimensional, and teams know how to come in every night. Look at the Celtics. I mean, with the talent they have this year, which isn't what they were in previous years. I mean, they had guys last night with names I've never even heard of playing, and they still found a formula and a way to get it done at the end when it mattered most. So the Cavs, that's another adjustment to me they need to make. And my last point here is something that everybody's talking about today that is a little concerning to me. It's you can see here the Cavs, with a minute and 18 left, Darius Garland gets this layup or misses the layup. Evan Mobley follows it in. Again, tacking the basket. See what happens. Good stuff happens with those guys. But so now it's a 6-point game. It's 112 to 106 with 48 seconds left. They came back in the game. They crawled back in the fourth. Darius and Donovan, I think, scored 16 of the 22 points in the fourth quarter combined. And Donovan gets hot from three here in the last couple of seconds. He just comes off, just boom, hits that one, right? And then here they come the Cavs. They're down by 3. Pritchard pulls up on Darius, takes advantage of the matchup. They get that. But the Cavs down 5. Here comes Donovan, pulls up from 3. Bang, he hits another one. So it's 5 seconds left now. All right, it's 112 to 116. And Darius pulls up from 3, and he nails it. All right, so Donovan and Darius have both hit 2 threes right there. All right, so now it's 1.2 seconds. The Cavs, they got to foul really fast, which they do. They missed the free throw, so now they call a timeout with 0.7 seconds, 0.6 on the clock. And so Kenny Atkinson calls a timeout. You're down by 2, right? Darius and Donovan, especially Donovan, have been red hot this fourth quarter. Now, this play coming out of the out of bounds, I get what Kenny Atkinson was thinking, right? That Donovan Mitchell, in his eyes, is the best inbounder, right? And Darius has been having a good game. You got to trust the other guys. This play was designed for Darius to get the ball off a screen, which he didn't get it. He didn't get open off of it. So now the second option, the second read was you had to just throw it in the Mobley, just come up top, and he has to try to just fade away any air balls. Not a high percentage shot to me in that situation. I mean, I get your 0.6. I'm surprised maybe they didn't try to throw it. If you're going to have Donovan, you're going to have Donovan throw it in, why not try to throw something more towards the basket with Evan, maybe a tip or something, coming off a screen. We could basically kind of like have him pin, have somebody screen from down. What's that play? A team ran it on us this year. The game we lost, I can't remember the team we lost down at the buzzer. It was against Miami. The same play Miami ran on us with 0.6 left. Why didn't we do that with Evan Mobley or somebody else? I would try to get something more towards the basket in that situation, but that's just me. But if you're going to have him throwing the ball, that's what I would look for. If you're overall, though, do I want my best player, my franchise guy who's been hit those 2 threes down there at the stretch, supposed to be my closer? Do I want him inbounding the ball in this situation? No, I don't. Does it hurt to having Max Strus out, who was their inbounder last year? Yeah. Does it hurt having Lonzo out, who probably would have inbounded this ball? Yeah. But it's a tough situation for Kenny. I get it. But I don't like it because of what I read on after the game. And you saw the result. In my opinion, no matter what, Darius Garland is the point guard of this team. I'm assuming he's my best passer as my point guard, right? Darius is Donovan's my 2 guard. Darius is my point guard. I would still want Darius inbounding the ball. And Donovan just hit 2 bombs from here throughout the fourth quarter. I know Darius hit the 1, but Donovan, to me, he's still my guy I trust the most. He's still my franchise guy. Donovan can also come down here and hit a turnaround fadeaway. I mean, you can do all different kinds of things, set different things up for Donovan at certain angles on the court spots. To me, he's still got to be the guy. Your best player should never be inbounding the ball, no matter what, in the last second situation. The only way this should have been inbounded is if you were throwing something to the basket, right? Just like I said, the same play Miami ran on us when they beat us in that double overtime game about a month ago or 2 weeks ago, whatever that was, when they had that Wiggins went on that backdoors cut and they lobbed it up and then got us on the screen. I think the Cavs could have set something up like that with Mobley or somebody where they could have got something at the basket here with 0.6. If you're going to take your guy off the floor to throw in a pass, I want him throwing it to a high percentage shot by the basket, draw something up. But to me, this is not high percentage. We want our 7-footer moving away from the basket and fading away for an air ball. So not surprised by the result. You see Donovan after the game, after the game's over, just kind of, obviously pissed walking off the court, daps up his guy. But, in an article after the game, I'll get to this now. I thought this was pretty interesting. And this was written by a gentleman over at Cleveland.com, Ethan Sands. And he says after the game, Donovan Mitchell was, at his locker. And it says Sunday's loss didn't carry the stakes of a playoff series, but this season, Mitchell has spoken constantly about how process over outcome. Right? That's kind of what I was going back to earlier. If you allow a certain habit, it's a process. And you see here how the habits build now sustain the moments ahead. And that's exactly what I said earlier. And I didn't read that part of the article. I just know that. It's just from playing team sports, growing up and being a part of championships. That's what it's all about habits, building habits throughout the season. It is a process, right? And Donovan says it right there. And he says, and yet there he was, sunk in the corner of the locker room, replaying one more late game sequence that unraveled before he could change it. Talking about that last sequence there I showed with Mobley shoot the fadeaway. Here's the picture of it right here. And it says, no one knows how many times the final play flickered through his mind, how many alternate angles he imagined, how many ways he felt it could have gone differently. The truth is, the world won't know it all. The All-NBA guard wasn't made available to the media, which has been a first this season. So he wasn't made available to the media last night, and he was sunk in his locker by himself, just sitting there, emotionless. And to me, that's a little alarming. Is it a big deal? No. I'm not saying there's rift between Kenny Atkinson and Darius or Donovan Mitchell, but Donovan, I think, sees a lot of the same things. Again, he said it right there. I'll go back to it, talking about habits, right? He's talked about the process. And habits built now sustain the moments ahead. And he sees a lot of the bad habits probably the Cavs have. They have a lot of bad habits. They lead the league in 3-point attempts. And just little things like that. Defensively, they're not as good at communicating. You saw the first play of the game, they didn't communicate well and gave up a 3 right off the rip. And then also just situationally, with the inbound passing. You remember the play last year where they couldn't inbound a ball. And then Indiana game, that game 2, that was just a heartbreaker, where they couldn't do it then. But this end of this game here, they've had a hard time closing some of these games this year, especially that Miami game and this game right here, where they should have won the games. And it's like you just see a lot of bad habits from the coaching side of things, allowing that many threes every night. I don't like some of his lineups right now. Some of the guys he has out there, just some of the personnel they have off the bench, like I said earlier, is not that good. But to me, having your guy throwing an inbound pass with points at the end of the game for a last shot to win it or tie it at least, I don't like that either. And again, if you're going to, it's all about the habits and the process you build now. Why not throw that play up to Evan Mobley at the rim, like I said, if you're going to have him on the ball. But your best player should be on the floor taking the shot no matter what. I mean, that's crazy. And it's not good. I don't think that's a good sign. And you look at the trends they're on right now, that's not heading in a good direction. And so the Cavs right now are heading towards another, possibly a colossal just failure again. If they keep this up, yeah, they'll get healthy and stuff and maybe hit a little, light in the bottle mid-season, win some games, sneak in, be top 4, and everybody be like, oh, the Cavs. But they'll still have those same bad habits, right? They'll still be leading the league in 3-point attempts and still not having the personnel they need to match up in the playoffs. And some of those good habits on both ends of the floor. And they'll get in the second round against a team like the Pistons and lose. Because they can't match up with teams like that. And that's what wins in the postseason. It's all about matchups and being able to slow down the controlling pace of the game, rebounding, right? Getting more possessions, controlling the boards, and limiting turnovers. And the Cavs right now aren't doing a great job in a lot of those areas. There's been a lot of nights this year with both guys out there, Allen and Mobley, where they got out-rebounded by teams that were a lot smaller than them. Remember the last time they played Boston? They didn't really have a center on the roster play that night, and they still got out-rebounded. So it all goes back to habits, process, right? Philosophy to me, and just what you allow as a coach. You can't allow, you got to make adjustments. And that's why I say it's time for adjustments. Kenny Atkinson needs to kind of take a pause here, all right, for the next month going into Christmas, and really start to kind of tweak some of the philosophy. I think get the ball inside the Evan Mobley more. A lot of things I point out today. Get better defensively, communicate better. Like Kobe Altman, start looking ahead to the deadline. Get some better guys off this bench here, some better perimeter defenders, guys that are more consistent, guys that give you something at least, stuff that you need. I feel like right now they just don't have that. I feel like we have a lot of guys. We have our star guys and a bunch of guys that are just hit and miss every night. And that's our philosophy, is hit and miss every night. If we live by, if our threes are going, great, we win. If not, it's a rough night for us. We're probably gonna lose. So, it's time for adjustments for me. No time to panic, but they need to make these changes now ASAP, like Donovan said, because those habits you build now will affect you down the road. And the Cavs, Kenny Atkinson especially, you pissed off your guy last night. I'm just gonna say he probably was pissed he didn't get the ball at the end of the game. You better be careful, Kenny Atkinson, because if Kenny Atkinson goes through another year or another letdown in the playoffs like last year, he could be in jeopardy as well. So, and the Cavs already invested in Donovan Mitchell. He's not going anywhere. But Donovan's guy, Johnny Bryant, he's next in line on that bench. So if I'm Kenny Atkinson, you're not Golden State anymore, bro. You can bring, and not say you brought in a lot of good habits from there, but you're not coaching Stephen Clay and you're not coaching Stephen Clay anymore. All right. It's time to build a system, build around this team more with the personnel you have, and make adjustments that fits them more and fits them better. So that's all I got for the Cavs right now. Cleveland sports right now, outside of Ohio State Buckeyes in Ohio, it's not looking too good. Hopefully the Cavs get better and bring some hope and get back to the winning basketball I know they're capable of doing. I still have a lot of high expectations for them this season. It's still early, 20 games, but we'll see. So we'll see. I hope it gets better, and I think it will, but always keep hope. So that's all we can do as Cavs fans. But what you can do as well is like, subscribe, and share, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. I'm out of here. Go.